Now, as far as the length of time, I have found that these conversations usually take 30 minutes to 45. Do you think that's going to be enough time for you?
Oh yeah, I'm only here for you, Aurelia. I'm here for you. Anything you want, I'll give it to you. If you want the shirt off my back, I'd give it to you right now.
All right. Well, that is quite a start. Now, tell me, is that related to your profession as a medic, or is that just a character trait?
Both. I mean, I guess one leads to the other, I suppose. I've become more given and selfless uh, through my work in the medical field, but I've always been quite nice, I would say.
I see. And tell me, who were you before you came to the crossing?
I was a nobody. I don't know. I was just a guy who moved here to the crossing. I was trying to expand my horizons, and like I really am not that interested, to be honest. I came to the crossing, kind of grew up more or less solitary and alone, frontier town, so didn't have many neighbors, much less kids my age to play with. I did work as a hunter trapper over in Texas eventually, and then moved here.
What brought you here?
Just work, and just wanted to just branch out a bit, try something new. Here the crossing was quite nice, I heard. They didn't tell me it was so dangerous though and violent. That was a shock to me.
Oh no, did you get into some scuffles when you got here?
Oh no, not immediately. I kind of kept to myself. But you just kind of you listen around, you hear things, and you're like, oh wow, this Wallaby kid sure is a mean one. This, the Jabas and bastards. Wow, oof. Don't want to be on their wrong end.
Yes, I had the pleasure recently of meeting Wallaby Kid, and he was quite interesting.
I'd imagine.
So you came to the crossing for new experiences, new opportunities.
That's right. I learned how to ride a horse out here.
Oh, really?
Truth be told, when I entered the crossing, I was scared of horses. Believe it or not, I used to walk to every town.
You don't say.
Yep, if I wanted to go to Saint Denis from Blackwater, I'd have to hoof it.
I see what you did there.
I'm a big fan of puns, jokes, callbacks, and things like that. I love bits. I used to have a very good one I used to say a lot.
Does that mean you're friends with Mr. Orvid?
Yes, yes, I do like Mr. Olver quite a bit. I guess I like puns, and he likes puns. I think he's better at it than I am. That's why I prefer to do bits and callbacks and things like that.
Well, I myself enjoy them too, so you're in good company.
I'm glad to hear it.
How long did it take you to get into the medical profession?
Maybe about 3 months. What I was doing for work was much of what I did back in Texas, which was hunting, trapping. There used to be a company around here, around these parts, called Frontier Foods. I don't know if you ever been familiar with it.
Not sure I have it. I might have seen a poster somewhere.
Frontier Foods used to be the premier hunting, fishing, herb picking, supply gathering company in the crossing. All of it above board, all of it lawful. So because of that, I more or less know the location of every hub in the crossing. I know where to find all the meat and game and fish. Uh, and that's actually been quite helpful to me in my own medical things as I've gone.
I've tried to search for herbs before, and it is quite difficult, so that is a
Oh,
very important knowledge to have.
yeah, it's one of those things with the hubs where if you don't know what you're looking for, and if you're not looking for it, you're gonna miss it. There could be a hub like 20 feet in front of you, and you'll never know it's there unless you're paying attention.
That's probably why I've never found anything, except for the really bright flowers in the middle of nowhere.
No, which ones?
Uh, the blue ones near Blackwater?
Oh, Blue Bonnet.
Yes, those might be the easiest to spot.
Those are actually the state flower of Texas. Just a little fun trivia.
Are they?
That's right. That's right.
So you started out hunting and trapping, eventually became a medic. What's happened to you
Hmm.
since then?
Um,
I
just
guess
been a medic.
more specifically, how have you learned and grown?
Oh well, first I guess if we're going over my whole backstory and everything, let me tell you why I became a medic.
Yes.
Uh, so I used to do a lot of big game hunting. Wolves, cougars, bears. And when I first started, I actually had to use a bow and arrow to kill bears because I couldn't afford the bolt action. But every now and again, going out there in Big Valley for bears, you would find that people were also trying to do the same, but they didn't have as much luck, and maybe they got hurt or injured or something. And it broke my heart every time knowing that I really can't do much for them. And it came to a point where there was one time I was with a friend and we came across two people, a deputy and then a mutual friend who was gravely hurt and injured. And I don't think there were any rangers. I don't think there were any medics on duty at the time. So it was one of those things where I kind of just like, all right, I'm going to step up and I'm going to be a medic. And so I applied.
Were you at least accepted fairly quickly?
Oh no, it took weeks. I think now if you were to apply, it'd be quite quick, but I guess at the time they had a backlog of trainees and all that. So I applied. I waited like 3 weeks to get a letter of acceptance. And then it took another 2.5, 3 weeks until I became fully certified. And I'm coming from a background of no previous medical knowledge whatsoever.
Right.
Pulled myself up from my bootstraps, you know? The American dream.
Uh, did you know the reality behind that phrase?
No, not really. Can you tell me?
Yes, it's actually very often misunderstood. Everyone says, pull yourself up by your bootstraps as an example of overcoming adversity and getting yourself where you need to go. But originally it was, let me see if I can remember. Something about it's all right to tell a man to lift himself by his own bootstraps, but it's also also like an impossible thing to ask.
Interesting.
Because when you think about it, if you try to lift yourself up by your bootstraps, you're not going to move yourself anywhere.
Hmm. In that case, I'll hold true to that phrase then.
But to your point, going after the American dream sounds like what you've done. You came from a different background, you found yourself a new profession. What would you say is the most memorable thing you've experienced being a medic? I totally tried to look up that quote and I
Interesting.
couldn't find it.
There's one thing I really do enjoy about being a medic. Okay, there's a few things that are standing out to me now. I really enjoyed my time with Colta. I don't know if you were around when Colta first got had some government funding put into it, and they rebuilt a few things.
I think I distantly heard about it.
I was one of the medics on the front lines there, and I gave myself the nickname, which stuck actually. Funny enough, I didn't think it would, but it did. I called myself the Medic of the North. And people still affectionately refer to me as that, which is funny. Because I'd be up there, I even had to go help the rangers, retrieve people who fallen off mountains and things like that and treat hypothermia and all that. And just that whole general experience of being there for the Colta community. It was very memorable, and just the fact that there were people I didn't even meet before. They would say to me in the telegram office, "Hey, aren't you the medic of the North?" And I would respond in kind, Medic of the North. But then I got fired.
You got fired from Coulter?
I got fired from that title.
Who
I got
fired you?
called out. I got the boss. I don't know if you're familiar with the ranks here in like let's say law or medic. So like for law, there's the deputies and senior deputies and sheriff, right?
Mm-hmm.
For medic, there is the medic staff and then senior staff. But there's one rank above them, the boss. Because the senior staff here in the medical department's equivalent to a sheriff, really.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I got fired from that title. That was my favorite joke I've ever done. Because I'd call myself Medic of the North. Everyone knew me as Medic of the North. And I got called out in a not called out in a meeting, but they singled me out in a medic meeting where they're like, all right, guys, we need you all to be more centralized to the crossing. You can't really just stay in one area, like, say, Coulter. And I'm like, ooh, they called me out. Oh my goodness, can't believe they do that to me.
Oh, so you were essentially fired for being too much of a North medic.
Something like that. I think, okay, when I say that, I'm joking. Like, I wasn't in any trouble. I wasn't actually fired from anything. Because I was going around the crossing a lot, but they did want me more centralized and not spend too much time up in Coulter. It was more like a warning more than anything. So I would joke around and just say, oh, I got fired from being the medic of the North. And as such, I decided to take the joke a bit further. And I dyed my hair black. I put on a full black outfit and wore eyeliner. And called myself the bad boy of the medical department because I was rebelling against the department for firing me when they didn't fire me.
That's quite amusing to me, at least. What did they think?
My mentor, who is Senior Dr. Bellatrix, called me the goodest bad boy. But then I got hired from that title, so now I'm the one and only senior medic Clyde Hutchinson.
Oh, I see.
Because there's a lot of senior doctors, but there's only one senior medic. What I enjoy most about the medical department and the duties that I have is I like training. I like being involved with the other medics and doctors and nurses and all that and helping them achieve their dreams, gain the knowledge, and get the experience that they need to go for their goals and achieve their dreams,
Mm-hmm.
So I'll spend a lot of my time just with the trainees, which is funny enough why I wear this jacket. I'm sure you've noticed the big bird on it, so I'll make a lot of little bird jokes,
Oh.
When I got promoted, I wore the jacket and I said, now that I'm senior, I'm going to take this department and fly with it. We're going to take the department and soar to new heights. And all the trainees, well, I'm taking them under my wing.
I have to say that's beautiful. It's punny, but also inspiring.
And I mean every word of it. I really do.
So, who do you hope to become in the future then? What do you see for your future as a person and also as a medic?
That's a hard question, When I got offered the title at the time, I remember got pulled aside by Bellatrix. And she was like, I want to put forward your name to become a new senior part of the senior staff. And I'm like, oh. Like, I wasn't ready for it. Like, I didn't think about it all that much. Like, would I like to be senior staff? Sure. One day, yeah. But it's like that day came and now I'm like, huh. I never thought myself ready for it at the time. I was just kind of like, well, let me think about it, because like I'm a medic. I'm not actually a doctor. I'm not a nurse. Like all the in the department, all those titles are basically the same rank. A doctor cannot command a nurse, cannot command a medic, and vice versa. And like I said, there's a lot of senior doctors. It seems like becoming a doctor was a prerequisite to becoming a senior staff. So I don't know. It was interesting to be approached like that, and it was very heartwarming in a way that they thought I was ready for it. So I agreed. So, but going forward, I feel like I'm in the same place, or same mindset at least, where I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not aiming for any goals, any personal ones at least. I'm just trying my best to bring the department forward. And actually, I do have one goal. Um, as the new senior staff, I am now in control of the counseling department. I took it upon myself after asking permission from the boss. So now I run the counseling department, and I want it to be successful. If people ever do want and need help counseling wise, I want them to feel like they can trust the department and trust me to help take care of them. Not to say I can treat everybody, because I'm only one man. I can't do this all on my own.
I think, well, unless they're not affiliated with you, I've met, uh, oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name. Well, Mr. Orvid, I think he's a therapist of some kind. And then also, Vivian, do they work with you?
All of it is independent completely. So unfortunately, anything he says is not. It doesn't hold water in the department. And with Vivian, which Vivian are you referring to? There's like 8 of them.
Oh, is there? She's a redhead?
Does she have a sultry voice?
Yes.
The kind that melts you?
Yes.
The ones that you're kind of like, oh my goodness, oh lordy, I'm getting the vapors.
That's the one.
That is Vivian De Winter. I wasn't aware she did counseling services, but no, that's the same thing in the Orbit camp. Currently in the medical department, my counselors are me, Dr. AB, Nurse Marjorie Smith, and I'm training 2 more, which is Dr. Bonifer Conifer and no, my bad, Medic Joshua Margot.
I say. So your goal, you're saying, is just to make the department successful?
Yeah, because it's my department now. I've always been interested in counseling, and I was doing it even as a normal medic. But I was just, one man, and the person who was technically under control of that part of the department was on their way toward a leave of absence. So I felt kind of isolated and alone, and I wanted to make sure that if anyone else was interested in doing counseling, that they wouldn't feel as alone as I was.
When did you last feel alone like that?
Can you expand upon that question a bit?
Well, it sounds like you want to make the counseling available for anyone who feels alone, and you made a reference to yourself feeling alone.
So the counseling's not just for people who are alone. Most of the people we deal with are going through trauma, loss of loved ones. They maybe gone through torture, or maybe something more psychological. Like currently, we have a sleepwalking patient, so parasomnia, paranoia, things like that. But as far as the last time I felt alone, unfortunately, I'm still kind of going through that.
Hmm. So it's not the kind of alone that is cured by having people around you.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I feel very beloved by the community. I very much enjoy the company and I consider them friends, my colleagues in the medical department. I don't know, I just feel like. Okay, so let me back up because now no, this is not counseling, all right? Don't you try to trick me like that.
I'm not doing anything.
I say I felt alone when it came to Doctor or Nurse Smith. My bad. He was Senior Nurse Smith. Because I was supposed to do shadowing with him, but our schedules never overlapped. But counseling patients kept coming in, so eventually I was just had to be given one, and I had to be given one with almost no um, instruction on how to do a counseling session. I was going in blind, trial by fire, and all that. And luckily, it worked out. I seem to be pretty good at it, I think. At least I'd like to think. So that's why now that I'm taking over the department, I want there to be more communication between the medic staff, and I'm working hard to do that. So that, if people are interested in becoming counselor, they don't have to just be thrust upon it like I was and do it alone.
I see. You stepped around that answer quite well.
Well, thank you. I am a counselor, so I know what I'm doing. I'm the one and only, after all.
Uh, moving on to the next question. What would you say is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
That's a hard one. Not because there's so many accomplishments, but because I feel like I haven't made it just yet, you know? I don't feel like I have a greatest accomplishment. I have a bunch of accomplishments. I mean, I'm senior medic. Obviously I'm beloved enough that I got recommended to you. So I don't know.
You're still searching for it?
I guess I haven't had that masterpiece moment or whatever you want to call it, where I can look back and think, yeah, this is it. This is, it's all downhill from here. I haven't felt that yet. So there's a lot of little events that I'm proud of and things that I've been involved in that I'm very proud of. But for instance, I'm very proud of the fact that I was very much involved in the training of what is currently medic Lucia Wilmore. This was also during my big old Medic of the North thing.
I see.
The training was. She is wonderful. She is brilliant. She is smart, and I had absolutely no doubts in my mind that she is going to succeed, and she has only proven me right so far. But during her training, she had a lot of confidence issues. Mostly because of lack of experience, just whenever she was on duty, no one seemed to be getting hurt or injured or anything, which is good, unless you're trying to get practical experience
Yes.
in how to pick people back up together. So there were other trainees who were kind of getting hired after her, getting certified before her, and I think it was just kind of messing with her a bit. Because they were getting the experience and they were getting the knowledge, and she was just kind of there. So working with her, getting her over that confidence bump and just training her, that I'm quite proud that I was involved in that. But because don't get me wrong, she has all the knowledge, she had all the skills. I'm just happy that I was able to give her that last little push to get her going, you know?
Of course. Now, is she the bubbly one?
Yes.
I think I've come across her a couple times. She is lovely. I've even heard her helping someone, and The medical information that she was spouting out sounded quite learned.
She's probably even a better medic than me, to be honest.
I imagine you've learned some important things from being a mentor and a medic and even just a person.
Yeah, I would say I have. I try to. That's why I kind of like counseling, and I like the training. I like interacting with the people and trying to help people become better. I consider it an honor and a pleasure to be able to do that for people.
What would you say are some of the most important lessons you've learned in life?
Hmm. Something I've realized very recently, um, I would say within the last month maybe, is that I'm not really trying to heal injuries. I'm not trying to help, people with their injuries, I'm trying to heal people. That's my philosophy as far as medical goes. I think when you first become a trainee, it's very intimidating. There's a lot going on, there's a lot of medicines, a lot of suture techniques, how to do what when this happens, and it's overwhelming and it's scary, right? Because I've talked to some people and they're like, "Yeah, I'd like to become a medic, but it just seems really hard. It seems, like intimidating. Like there's so much involved into it, and I'm scared I'm gonna mess it up, or I'm scared that, I won't be able to do it right. I can't learn." And maybe that's why I like doing the training, because I like to show people that, it's honestly not that hard. But people get so caught up on that details, like how do I treat the injury? And now I'm beginning to realize that I'm not just treating the injury, but I'm treating the person.
It's not just a wound, it's a person that's attached to the wound.
Exactly.
And sometimes that wound can stretch deeper than just the superficial surface.
Yeah, exactly. Glad you understand.
I think that's especially important to know in a medical environment, a place that's, I suppose, tends to be pretty logical, right?
That's right. I think what is it? What's the phrase? People they can't see the forest for the trees.
Mm hmm. What other lessons have you learned?
Give me a second to collect my thoughts on that one. Because I
Sure.
feel like I have learned stuff, I just can't recall it. I'll give you a joke one.
All
It
right.
was something. It was something I was taught by senior staff when I was, training. But when I was first certified, I was told by senior staff, and as senior staff, I'm telling you right now, flirting is good medicine.
What is?
Flirting.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what word you're saying.
Flirting.
Oh, flirting.
Flirting is good medicine. So there was a point actually, because I honestly came into the crossing quite the ignorant man. Not only did I not know how to ride a horse, I didn't know how to dance, I didn't know how to really talk to people. So I put an ad in the paper once I became certified, of course. To I put an ad in the paper asking for flirting teachers to teach me how to flirt.
Oh my goodness.
I got 8 teachers,
8.
8 of them.
How much?
One of them was completely useless and he was more of a joke, but he was a friend, so I think he was just messing with me. But now I like to think I'm a pretty good flirt.
Well, with 8 teachers, how much time did you spend with each of them?
I spend maybe at least a couple hours each. and I paid each of them maybe $500. 400, my bad.
Do you feel you got your money's worth?
No, I definitely feel like I got my money's worth. I think I'm pretty charming, don't you?
So far.
Yeah, you're pretty charming yourself, you know.
Well, thank you. I hope you know that I am going to include that. It may be a joking piece of advice, but I still think it's good.
Okay. It's also very important you put that in your book that I am not a womanizer. I even had that added in the paper too after the fact. I had the paper published that Clyde Hutchinson is not a womanizer.
If you insist, I'll include it, but to me, flirting is entirely separate from womanizing.
All right, I'm glad we understand that I am not a womanizer.
Now tell me, what has all the flirting advice and practice gotten you?
Um, it's gotten me popularity. Truth be told, I don't flirt with every patient, you know? Like Aurelia, if you came to me and you were shot to hell and back, you're bleeding out of everything possible, and then you're like, pick me up, help me out. I'm not gonna sit there and flirt with you. I'm gonna, help you first and foremost. But the flirting is good for bedside manner. It's good for making people at ease, kind of just diffusing tension a bit if there is any. And it's just, there's a time and a place for everything. Um, I do have a girlfriend now, I guess. The flirting lessons might have helped with that. Although she didn't like that I was taking flirting lessons when I was courting her for whatever reason. Although I haven't seen her in a while, so I hope she's doing all right. She had to leave the crossing for a bit.
Oh, I see. So you were in the speaking terms part of
At that
the courting.
at that time, yes.
Like you're not dating, but you're talking to someone.
Well, now we're dating, but at the time I was taking the flirting lessons because this was months back. At this point,
I see. Well, you recently said that you don't feel like you've had your greatest accomplishment yet. Do you know what your perhaps pivotal moment was? That part of your life where something happens either good or bad, and after that there was a before and an after?
it actually could be that moment where I saw, the deputy and the friend kind of there in Big Valley bleeding out. That was definitely a big pivotal moment. Pivotal moment. Well,
Mhm.
that made me turn to medic. But beyond that, let me see. I'm trying to think what exactly is the moment where it turned me from, the person who was just, I'm learning how to do medicine and I consider myself a student to becoming something of a teacher. What was the moment for me? Well, it kind of all just clicked, and now I feel very comfortable doing medicine to the point where, like drinking water. I'm sorry, gotta give me a second to just recollect my memories here.
Mhm.
It might have been the Lucia thing, to be honest. I've
Mhm.
trained a lot of people, and I think Lucia is the first time. Yeah, I think actually it is Lucia the first time I actually had to train someone from the ground up. Because, like I told you, I came from a background of no medical knowledge whatsoever, right? And I was
Mhm.
very interested in training even from the beginning. I'm like, I can't wait till I'm a fully learned medic so I can help train others. That's what I was thinking as a trainee. And then the next trainee that came in after me was Dr. Bonifaconofa. Oh, I mean, my bad. I'm sorry. Her name is Dr. Gray. She came in as a trainee, but she clearly was going through medical school and she already knew what she was doing. So I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I can't really train you on anything. It's more like just updating you on policies. And then the same thing happened with a Dr. Shipman, who also knew a lot more than I did. And then a Dr. Kensington Downey. And I'm just like, okay, it seems like everybody knows so much more than me, you know? So I guess Lucia was the first time I actually had to train someone from the ground up. Like, not from the ground up, that's hard to say. Because she already knew a lot of stuff beforehand as well, but kind of like, I guess help build someone to become a medic instead of them already being one from the get go, you know?
Right. I think both of those are pivotal in their own way. One for setting you down the path of a medic, the second, setting you down the path of a teacher.
Yeah. Actually, the, I think Vera Hawthorne is the one, the patient. She's not a medic or anything like that. Vera Hawthorne, I've been giving her counseling lately, and that one's really been sticking with me as far as making me realize, you're treating a person, not an injury.
Hmm. Well, from what you've said, that sounds like just the next layer.
Yeah. Like, I've always wanted to do counseling. I just never had the opportunity. But this is, I guess, the first patient, the Vera Hawthorne, where it's all kind of clicking together, and everything's, I don't know. It's making me see things a bit clear. There's a better expression or better way of saying this, but I just can't put words to mind.
I'll see what I can come up with. Unless you want to think on it some more.
We could come back to it later.
All right. Is there anything you'd like to change about yourself? Even if it's something you don't know you could change.
I wish I could give myself more time. I'm pretty spread thin at the moment. I have not only senior responsibilities, but I'm also managing the department, and I'm trying to give everybody, all the counselors, attention they need, the resources they need, the opportunities they need. Then the counseling patients themselves, 'cause, you got to prepare and you got to talk to them about their issues and give them all the time they need, along with the other medical patients, because I can't just be a full-time counselor. I also have to treat the people of the crossing as they need me. And so currently there are some sacrifices because of time. Like, I don't have much of a social life anymore. I'm kind of locked in my medical office, just there.
Making your life about your job. That's easy to do.
Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to do it. I honestly am, I'm even helping the Rangers be the main medic so that we're going to go rebuild Colta a little bit, go help restock, you know, reestablish, something. There's a word for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to help, and I'll gladly do it. Like I said, if you need anything, I'll give you the shirt off my back. It's absolutely no problem, and I'm happy to do it.
Is there something about you that people wouldn't know just by looking at you?
I don't know. I didn't even think I was that interesting, to be honest. But I don't know what they would be expecting from me, I guess, or I don't know. I wear a raccoon hat everywhere.
Yes, well, that's on the outside, though. It could even be just a strange interest or hobby. I mean, do you collect little wooden figurines of bears?
Oh, that'd be very cute if I did. My main hobby is all fishing and playing poker, although it's been a while since I've done any of those.
Any hidden talents or hidden interests?
Um, I'm a decent shot with a bow, I suppose. Sharpshooter, archer, whatever you want to call it.
You just had a little bit of practice when you got to the crossing.
I had a little bit, yeah, because of my past as a trapper, and then it really came into its own here on the crossing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had to shoot down bears with a bow and arrow in order to get my bolt action, so I guess that actually. There's only a few people here in the crossing, a handful, maybe even a couple that know that I used to walk everywhere when I first came here. Everyone uses a horse, but
Why were you afraid of horses?
because they're big and scary, and they're very strong. A good kick can kill a man. I didn't want to be that man. As a medical professional, I am scared of death.
Hmm.
It's almost like it's my job to fight it. I try my best, I guess, as a medic or doctor or medical staff, whatever you want to say, to keep death away from the patient, to extend their life as much as I can. And I've treated people who've been on the brink of death, and God forbid, knock on wood and all that, but no one has died when I've operated or if I've treated them. But I have treated people to the best of my ability and knowing that they don't have much left in them. And it scares me a little, you know, just seeing how truly fragile we really all are.
Hmm. You would probably know that the best. The fragility of
Maybe.
human life.
hmm And I guess, I don't know, well, I don't want to die. But, I don't know, maybe it's also because I feel like I haven't done what I want to. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, I suppose. It's just like I'm not done living yet. Maybe that's why death is so scary.
What would you want to do? What would you
I
feel
couldn't
like you've
answer.
missed out on?
I couldn't tell you. I honestly, it's kind of like, what's my greatest achievement? I think back to that. And like
Right.
I told you, I couldn't think of it.
Just one day you'll have that masterpiece moment and it'll all become clear.
Maybe.
What would you say is your favorite thing about yourself?
My hat.
It is a very iconic hat.
Oh, it is so iconic. I don't know. I guess I would say, maybe my charm. People seem to find me endearing, and I'm very grateful that they feel that way.
Charm can get you a long way in life. It's like having really good people skills.
Actually, I think what I want my answer to be for that question is my kindness. That's what I really like about myself. Or is that too conceited?
No, not at all.
Oh no, all my humility out the door, out the window.
Why do you like your kindness about yourself?
I don't know. I feel like it's very easy to I think it's very easy to be kind of selfish. Um and not to say I'm never selfish. I'm quite selfish all the time about things I want. But like I don't know, I just like helping people and doing in the best way I can see possible, and I'd rather give people the benefit of the doubt and help them where they can, even if others might think they're not as deserving of it. I like to give people the chance to prove themselves, you know?
It's oftentimes kindness that allows people to figure out who they are, giving them the space to express themselves and figure out what they're trying to say or be.
Right. Actually, scratch all that. My favorite thing about myself is my ability to flirt. No, it's the kindness. It's the kindness.
I think it's a good answer. I mean, I also would have taken your hat or the flirting. I think the kindness, though, resonates.
Yeah, I used to say it as a joke when I was at the poker table. You ever play poker?
I just learned the other night.
No, it's a fun game. Do you have a who do you play with, or you just play with random people?
I've only played the once with one person.
I see. There's a gambler's ring. I don't want to call them a ring. Just a group of people who are really, really passionate about poker. And there's a lot of little jokes and phrases we like to use. You know, two of them we call the poker chips beans, unless you're British, in which we call them poker crisps. And you know, just so on and so forth. One of the little lines that I really, really liked that I would use all the time is I would uh, I would say that I am the because I wouldn't bluff. Do you know about bluffing in poker?
Mm-hmm.
You know, where you're lying to people about what you have and what you don't have.
Right.
And I would act very suspicious, but I wouldn't be bluffing. I'd have a really good hand, but act suspicious about it to the point where people thought I was bluffing. And then when it's revealed I'm not, and I actually won the hand because I had the better hand, I'd be like, I don't know why you didn't believe me. I'm the most kindest man on on the table, you know, the kindest man there is.
So kind and truthful.
That's right. You know, like in a game of poker, this is high level poker, I suppose, where you can raise the blinds or the bet. You can call.
Mm-hmm.
Calling is just basically saying, okay, I'm gonna pay the bare minimum to keep the game going. If I had a really really good hand and I knew I was gonna win, I wouldn't raise. I would just call. And to the high level player, they would question me on it and they'd get mad even, like Tommy Two Snakes or Shay Murphy. And they'd ask why didn't I raise when I had the winning hand? And I just say,
Mm.
oh, I'm too kind, or I'm too nice, or I'm the nicest man there is. So it's just a fun little joke that I like to do.
Did they ever have responses for that?
Um, kind of in their own little way, because they get actually frustrated. To them, it's like a sport. And to me, it's a sport too. Don't get me wrong. I very much respect poker, and I like the people I play with. Um, and I treat it very seriously. But I don't know. I just call partly because I also like the responses they give.
To me, that says that you like seeing what people say when you do the unexpected, like flirt or not raise a hand.
Maybe. I do like getting a reaction out of people. I like to make people laugh sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I like to make people cry. But I only ever do that in counseling, don't worry.
Oh, of course.
I like to make people feel something, I guess. What about you, Aurelia? What are you feeling?
Oh, turn the tables on me, are you?
Oh, you ask so many questions, I'm not allowed one?
All right. Which question would you like to ask?
That one, the one I just did.
Ask it again.
How do you feel about me?
I think you're charming and nice, honest, and interesting.
My goodness, you're gonna make me blush. Thank you. Truly, thank you.
I'm also thankful you agreed to be a subject for this project. I do appreciate it.
Hey, it was my pleasure. I'm sorry if it took a little longer to get us going as far as scheduling this interview because, I've been trying very hard.
I can see now. But no, that's all right. You're only my, let's see, you're only my third one so far?
All right, so you told me you did the Wallaby. Who else is there that you did, and who else are you planning? Or are you keeping that a secret?
Oh, it's a very robust list at this point. I think the list of names might be boring, but I just came from talking to Sir Dickie White. Later on today, I'm going to meet with Tiny Tony and Mr. Way. And the other day, I spoke with Thomas Callahan.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, a nice assortment.
Yeah, it does seem like a very good one. Well, all right. Is there any more questions for me, or are we at the end of the line here?
That's all of them. I will probably reach out if I need to confirm something or clear something up. I imagine, aside from that, though, you will also be hearing from me when I have it written. I'd like you to look over it and just, check the facts and information, and also just sign off that you're happy with what I wrote.
All right. Make sure you're not slandering me. Okay, I gotcha.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Aurelia, your last time. Here's your last opportunity. If you wanted to ask me any question, any comment, or concern off the books, I'll be happy to answer. I'm an open book.
All right, let's see. All right, very important question. What's your favorite color?
Red. I
Now,
just realized I'm not wearing my gun belt.
now, if you weren't wearing red yourself, I would consider that a flirt.
Oh, that's a good one. I never thought of that one. Maybe I should have paid you $400 for flirting lessons.
I'm self-taught. I don't know if I would be able to convey the lessons that I have learned from just practice and experience.
Oh, I see, I see. Well, are you seeing anybody?
Hmm, I'm not sure yet.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Maybe you really are a superstar flirt.
Well, I'll say if you ever want to practice with someone, let me know.
Maybe I will.
That is to say, if your girlfriend will allow it.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, I hope you heal many people. Don't have to deal with too much paperwork. And have a good rest of your day.
No, you as well, Aurelia. You take it easy, okay?
I'll try my best.
Alright, I'll be seeing you.
All right.
Stay safe.
Bye.